Well, good morning on this beautiful, stunning spring morning. It is Thursday. I booked a couple of days off work and I have made my way to Egham, Surrey and Thorpe Lea Fishery. Now, I am literally just sat in the car waiting for the gates to open. I am booked on for 48 hours in Peg 53. Beautiful morning, absolutely stunning. Buzzing to get the rod set up and get going. Just going to get a rod set up, I think, with a lead. Let's have a real quick lead around, just find a couple of nice areas, just get a feel for the bottom, see what it's like, keep my eyes on the water, see if there's any giveaway signs of any fish, and can commence getting started. For the best part of half an hour, repeated casts. I've seen a fair few shows beyond where I'm fishing, but with a couple of thousand fish in here, I'm really not that bothered about seeing them sort of beyond me. There's nothing I can do about that at the moment. What I want to do is make sure I'm fishing effectively and on a clean area, and not diving into that silkweed and everything being covered up, not sort of being not being presented and accessible to the fish. So I'm probably going to just wrap both rods up now onto solid bags and just fling them out to that area that I know that's clean, and just fish a couple of single solid bags for the moment whilst I get sort of everything else sorted and set up. And yeah, you never know, you might be able to just nick a bite doing that. But yeah, 13.5 wraps. If you're going to have a little lead around and you are fishing sort of weedy venues, just go in with a bare lead, not a marker float, anything like that, until you've kind of found your clear area, because then the marker lead will be able to, the marker float even, will be able to pop up and won't get tangled up in all the weed and stuff. But yeah, just use a simple bare lead setup. Keep casting around until you're getting that drop, and then just sweep the rod either left or right to just get an understanding of what's on that lake bed. And this is coming back clean, no weed wrapping around it, and just gliding like glass. That's the first solid bag made. Pink one in there, my tried and trusted Sea Monster Baitworks Wafters, my go-to solid bag hook bait in there. Just before I cast it out, I am gonna get me syringe, Creamino oil, and just draw out sort of what's that, 2 mil, and literally just stab it in the bag and give it a bit of pulling power, really, because these are going to be out for probably an hour or so, unless they go before that. Just want to give them as much pulling power, attraction as I can once they're out on that lake bed. So like I said, I know it's going down nice and clean, so that should leak off lovely. Nice little parcel of bait, just enough whilst the rods are out, while I'm getting everything else set up. And you never know, maybe a chance of a bite or two. behind me, but the swim is an absolute pigsty. There's stuff everywhere. I pretty much just got the ground sheet out of the bivvy bag, led that down and just kind of sat on that. Got the rods and stuff all sorted because I didn't want to get everything caked in mud, because we did have a day's worth of rain yesterday. So yeah, the ground is a little bit soggy. So yeah, I kind of just laid that down for a bit of comfort and not to get all my new luggage dirty. So I'm just going to get everything else set up behind me now. The rods are out. They're doing it for an hour or so until I see anything happen or anything else that I need to fish to. But the swims are quite close on this fishery, so I am quite limited as to the amount of water that I can fish. Although it looks like, you know, there's a lot to play with, there really isn't. So I've just kind of, like I said, found a spot and just going to persevere with that until I see anything else that I want to sort of do or fish to as such. But that's the view at the moment. The rods are out. Let's get this lot sorted, get some breakfast on, keep fingers crossed for an early bite. Thought I was into my first bit of action. A few beeps on the left hand rod. Just stood over it. Spool started ticking. I was thinking, I'm in here. Quickly grabbed the camera to start to record it, and unfortunately it was the guy next door. I heard a slap and I thought, oh yeah, decent fish has just boshed out right over me. And then yeah, the spool obviously started to spin, and yeah, unfortunately he's cast straight over my left-hander, and I'm having to redo the solid bag again. Home set up, and it is looking naughty. I know I showed you this in my last video, and I know I've just done a dedicated video to these bivvies, but this compact is something else. For a session like this, it's absolutely bang on. I've put the ground sheet in this time round, as I mentioned, for a bit of comfort, because I am here for 48 hours. So got all that set up, but yeah, that is looking mega bivvy. I don't normally use bivvies. You would see it from my videos. I always use my tactical brolly, but on a session like this where I can't move, I'm stuck to a swim, I may as well have that comfort. Massive window on the back, so if it was a nice warm day, I could get that right open. But yeah, serious bivvy, and one that I've got a feeling I'm probably going to use a lot more. So I've got my new tactical rucksack there, mega piece of kit. Down the back, got me got a couple of holdalls as well. So I've got my cool bag, my new tactical cool bag. Down there I've got the carry-all, new tactical carry-all. And like I say, look at the space, you know, it's masses of space in here. So I'm going to be super comfortable this weekend. So now that that's all sorted, I can chill out a bit, watch the water. Might even think about getting just a few spombs of bait out in the next hour or so. Bit of crumb boilie, bit of pellet, just something to start sending sort of more food signals out on the spot in the area. Because I have seen a few shows, but beyond me, more sort of, I don't know, 2/3, 3/4 of the way over, so more in front of the other bank. So yeah, I might try and draw them in with a bit of bait. So that's me for the moment. I want to make myself a quick drink and then think about my next step in this plan of attack. This pretty much all at home, nothing revolutionary at all, but it just means that I didn't have to faff about with it whilst out on the bank. So What I've got in this one is a kilo of crushed crumbs Royal Marine from Baitworks. It absolutely stinks. The minute you take that lid off, it just hits you. In there I've got 3 kilos of mixed Creamino and Royal Marine shelf life boilies from Baitworks. These are ridiculously soft for a shelf life. They just crumb down in your fingers with very little pressure. So I've got 3 kilos of that, and then I've also got the matching pellet Creamino and Royal Marine. Again, this venue does operate on a boilie and pellet only basis. No other baits allowed, no surface fishing, no zig fishing, just purely a boilie and pellet approach to your bait. I've got a spare bucket. I'm literally just gonna start off small, see what sort of reaction it gets. If if they start getting on the bait and stuff like that, and I start to get a few bites, then we can sort of up the ante. What I don't want to do is go ploughing in a load of bait, because you can't take it back out, sitting on it and minimising my chances of a fish. So I'd rather go slowly, 2, 3, 4 spoms, let it settle, give it a while, see if I can get a few bites from it. And if so, then just work it and start adding a little bit more, a few spoms after every fish to hopefully keep them visiting the spot. So I'm literally just going to take a couple of handfuls of the crumb. That's a great little carpet feed, it settles in all the sort of sediment and stuff like that, and they're all different size bits and pieces, crumb, crushed, halves, chops, whatever you want to call it, it's in there. So it's just going to get them rooting around, and it just gives off a real nice cloud and sort of levels of scent of attraction up and down the sort of columns as it all sort of flutters down at different rates and different speeds, releasing that stinkiness into the area. So a few handfuls of that crumb. I'm literally going to take a couple of handfuls of the pellet. Again, these are all different sizes. They're like pellet sticks, so some can be a centimetre, some will be like half a centimetre, even smaller. They're just literally bits and pieces to get them grubbing around. So again, 2 or 3 small little handfuls in there. I'm not going to go mad on the whole boilies, just 20, 30 whole baits in there, just for something a little bit more substantial. And then what I'm going to do is probably crush a couple with my fingers, just so there's a few bigger bits of boilie in there as well, but not the whole sort of round shaped boilie, so a few halves as such. And just because they're so soft, I can just crush them with my finger and drop them in. So all different shapes and sizes, breakdown rates, levels of attraction in there. And just to finish that off, I'm going to give it a good dose of the liquid fish. So as you can imagine, this stuff absolutely honks. It is like tar, just a rich fermented fish concentrate basically. And yeah, as you can see from the bottle, that is exactly what colour it is. It is disgusting, but it's a really thick liquid, which means it's going to stick to this lot, and it's going to go down to the lake bed and stay down there. So perfect for dragging those fish down and keeping them rooting around, all that sort of silt and whatever else is down there. This will hug that bottom lovely. So yeah, as you can see, look at that, it's like gravy, but there's no chance I would be putting that on my Sunday dinner, put it that way. So I'm just going to give that a little glug of that, give that a bit of a mix up, get that coated all nice. And as you can see, it's already clinging to the boilies. It's absolutely disgusting. So it's going to work that into the crumb, work that into the pellet. Just give that sort of 5 minutes or so just to soak in whilst I'm getting the spod rod sorted. But yeah, what a stinky honking mix to get them fish grubbing around for. So I can imagine this margin is very similar to what I'm fishing over. I'm getting a drop and it's coming back smooth. So I just feel like there's probably a real low-lying amount of silkweed out there amongst a bit of debris and stuff like that. So I just kind of sprinkled a very small handful in this margin really, just to give you an idea. And as you can see, those pellets are just breaking down, nestled in between that weed, all the little crumb and stuff like that. It just creates like a carpet. and bits have just obviously gone deeper into the little bit of weed. Some of it's sat on top, and you can imagine that liquid fish as well, just hugging that weed and that bottom, releasing, you know, slow food signals over the period of time that it's out there. But that is exactly how I wanted this sort of baiting approach to be. Done a recast earlier in the day, and I'm not quite sure on the presentation of the solid bags, so I've got slipped these on now on both rods, on the same area, on the same spot, just for the fact that the rig's, you know, at least twice as long, and I've got that confidence that they'll be sitting pretty, where I'm just worried that even though there is only a small amount of silkweed down there, I'm just worried that those short rigs are just getting masked by the silkweed. But where I've got slip D's on there, like I say, at least 6-7 inches worth of sort of boom as such, I know that's going to be fishing much more effectively. Just gone 8 o'clock in the evening, sun is just starting to set, the light is just starting to fade, and yeah, the day has been uneventful at the moment. There have been a fair few shows, long, but you're talking 2/3 of the way over, and there's a line coming across sort of like the back of the island to the open water, obviously from an angler on the other side as well, so even if I did want to put one long, that's kind of cutting that option off. And the guys to my left, I don't know how their swims are sort of situated, but they're kind of coming over like directly in front of me, but long again. And the guys to my right are fishing to like the corner of the island, so I've got about 60-70 yards to play with. Anything beyond that does get weedy. So I'm quite happy just sitting on that shorter spot, hoping that maybe that with all the leads that are being thrown about long into the middle there, that they might just come the other side and push in. But I'm fishing a clear spot, I'm fishing effectively, I've got a couple of rigs on the deck, so yeah, I can only give it a go. But yeah, my options are kind of restricted really at the moment. So it's around 6:30. I've literally just made a quick brew, and then I'm going to quickly redo the rods. Yeah, I've seen fish, but again, way beyond distances that I'll be able to reach, not in my water. and yeah, there's already leads flying over to them as well. So yeah, I'm just going to stick and persevere on this spot. I know it's clean, I know it's fishable, and I'm just going to keep trickling over the bait on it today. I think every couple of hours, unless something else happens, just introduce another spawn of just that sort of mush that I prepared yesterday, just to keep that scent going through the water. You know, I've got 24 hours now to really try and turn this session around, so got to try and make something happen. So I'm going to get fresh rigs on there, fresh baits, get back on that spot, and yeah, just keep trickling the bait over it in hope that they get the scent trail and start to make their way down onto the spot. So that's all I can do at the moment, to be completely honest with you. So I say I'm just going to enjoy this beautiful morning, finish this off, get them rods in, get cracking for the day. So tungsten tubing sinks like a brick, and we'll just nestle down and over any sort of silkweed that is out on that spot where there isn't as much as other areas. And then a lead clip system, I've got the pin pushed into the lead clip just to allow that lead clip to pop off a lot easier through the pin holding the swivel in place that's kind of running through the middle. So that's just gently nicked on, not over the little sort of knobble that's on the lead clip, so that'll come off really easy. So I've got no worries that isn't going to discharge if it needs to, but it will stay on as well, obviously from the cast and retrieving and stuff like that, so it's not just going to come off unnecessarily. And then down to slip D-rig. It's about 7-8 inches in length, so obviously at least twice the length of a solid bag rig, which I was just feeling was being masked by that weed that was on the lake bed. So a little anti-tangle sleeve just covering the quick change swivel, so it's tied slip D style. Just going to go with the solid bag hook baits, so I'm going to go back to a little pink sea monster. It always gets me out of jail, so hoping that it's going to do the same on this session. And then what I've done is just tied around the back of the shank of the hook a little tag of the PVA, just to stop the bait from wrapping around the shank in flight. And then it's just a little mesh bag of dry pellet. That's just blobbed on with a little bit of bait floss, and it'll just sit off the back of the hook nicely, bobbing around, hopefully catching one of the carp's eyes. But yeah, that's what I'm going to be going out with. Well, it's just sat there on the bucket, sort of just chilling out really, watching over the water. One of the rods starts to tick, starts to get a real slow take, and then funnily enough the right hand one starts to do it as well, and both the lines simultaneously go up. I'm thinking, oh, here we go, got a fish here, and it's gone into my other line, because they are fishing the same spot, you know, same wraps, etc. Thinking, brilliant, got one on, but it's wiped out my other rod, but I'll deal with that. But no, the guy next door to my right this time has just literally wiped out both my rods. I've had to cut one of the rods because the line was just in such a mess. He's hooked a fish basically on his right hand rod, and just allowed it to come all the way across my swim, wiping out both my rods in the process. And I'm thinking, I'm playing the fish. Well, I'm thinking that I'm playing the fish, but I'm not actually hooked into it. And then I just feel grating. So I'm still thinking, obviously, that it's hooked on one of my rods, but picking up the other line. And it wasn't until then I'm feeling resistance, and we're both trying to pull at this fish, and it clicks that obviously next door's had a fish, and I allowed it to come across and wipe out both my lines. So yeah, not ideal. A little bit frustrated with this session at the moment. Obviously, you know, the lack of fish action but being sort of wiped out from the left yesterday, and then just being wiped out from the right, really just goes to show how sort of thin and narrow sort of like the fishing tunnels are, really, you know, the tunnel of water that you got to play with. So it just goes to show really how sort of tight it is based on where people are casting, as to how it can sort of impact others fishing around you. So yeah, not gonna lie, I'm not really enjoying this session at the moment. I'm really not. Obviously the only thing that will change that is a fish, but yeah, it's starting to beat me up a little bit. But you know, I've got till tomorrow 8 AM, so I just need to keep plugging away and persevering with it, and hopefully, fingers crossed, it all comes good. But yeah, not gonna lie, my head's gone already, and yeah, I'm slowly starting to lose the enthusiasm for this session, which was which was at a high when I started. Anyway, enough talking. I need to get both these rods resorted out now, so I'm going to crack on with that, and we'll catch up a little bit later on, hopefully with some better news. Just gone 8 o'clock, so give it an hour or so, it'll start to be getting dark, and just hoping and praying that something happens over the next 12 hours. So I've got till 8 AM tomorrow morning to try and bag myself a bite. But yeah, it's been an uneventful afternoon. Obviously I've just got the rod sorted after sort of like the hoo-ha earlier on this afternoon, so I've got them done nice and early, settled, bait out. I'm just going to sit on them now for 12 hours, and yeah, it's either I've got to go or the rods go. Quiet night, just woken up. It's around 5:15. The mist is rolling off the water, and it looks like we've had a frost by the looks of the grass just over the back of the swim there. It didn't feel as cold, certainly didn't feel any colder than last night, that's for certain. But another uneventful night, unfortunately. Not a single beep. I've just kind of stood out, just watching the water. They're still showing really long, way out of reach. But yeah, not a sniff last night at all. A beautiful morning, nonetheless. I need to start packing up. I want to be out the gate literally the minute that they open. Get home, get myself off home and sorted. You know, I just, yeah, I kind of feel like I've had enough of this session. Just want to get home, get the gear in the car, and yeah, just probably forget about this one for a while. But if you've got this far, thank you for watching. Unless anything happens in the next sort of 2.5 hours or so, then yeah, probably the camera will remain off, because you've probably seen enough of my face throughout this video. But if in a miracle anything happens, one of these rods that I will milk for every last minute screams off, then this camera will be out, and you'll probably hear me screaming and shouting. But yeah, if you've got this far, thanks for watching as always. Sorry it's not been probably the most enjoyable video. If I'm completely honest, it's not been the most enjoyable session. So yeah, we'll just leave it at that. But hey, you got to take them as they come. You can't win them all, and yeah, you can't control what happens, especially outside of your own fishing. So I'm going to shut up now, get the kettle on quickly, get this lot packed down, get myself on the road for a nice well-earned shower. So thanks for watching guys, stay safe, and I'll catch up with you next time I am out on the bank.